Okay guys, this is JP here from the band Outlier, and you're tuned into Outlier Tube. And this here is just a little introduction to sort of rhythm and guitar soloing and pentatonic scales, a few sort of important things that I think every guitar player should know. Okay, I'll start by just explaining the scale that I'm using here and explaining the reason for this device, which is a capo. You guys are probably tuned to standard tuning, so you won't need to use this. This guitar I always tune down a whole tone just because I like the lower range, so just ignore this capo because it's basically having the effect of turning this tuning into normal standard tuning. So if I play myself a little A chord shape here, it's going to sound like the same as an A chord on your guitar, but really I'm playing like a B chord. But anyway, just ignore that. So I'm going to be speaking as if I'm in standard tuning, and you notice I was using the A, open A string pedal tone over that introduction. So I'll zoom right in so you can just get a look at those frets there. We're going to be focusing on the 5th fret on your guitar, the 5th fret, and the 8th fret. And those frets make up the start of what's called a minor pentatonic scale. Some people call it a blues scale. A minor pentatonic is basically a 5-note scale. The notes within the scale are A, C, D, E, G, and then after that it returns back to the A note again. Okay? So on your guitar, that's going to be at the 5th fret, the 8th fret. That makes up the start, the first 2 notes. On the next 3 strings, you're going to be playing the 5th fret and the 7th fret like this. Okay, let's do that again. 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7. Okay, a little bit faster. And we're also entering into the next octave of the scale here, A, C, and D again. And then I'm going to finish off with another 2 of the 5 8s. 5, 8, 5, 8. So here's the whole scale. 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. Okay. What a pentatonic scale is basically the minor scale minus the note B and the note F. Those 2 notes tend to sometimes clash with things in certain chords, and that's the reason for them being taken out, or that's my explanation of why we don't use those notes. The pentatonic scale itself, because it's very minimalist, only 5 notes, tends to kind of sound good over everything, and that's one of the reasons why it's so commonly used. Okay, so I've got the pentatonic scale down. If that's pretty new to you, then maybe you might want to spend a bit of time on that before you progress any further. If that's familiar to you, then let's continue on. So here's your scale. For this little exercise that I made up, I was just using the smallest 2 strings, 5, 8, 5, 8, and going through all the sort of main different rhythm groupings that you can have. And I was playing a bass note as a constant, like a metronome with my thumb as well. Maybe if you're not used to that, don't worry about that just yet, and just focus on the licks. Okay. First lick over here in Australia we call them crotchets. I think in America they're called quarter notes. So basically 1 note on every beat. There's 4 beats to the bar. So yeah, playing 4 different notes like this. Just going straight down the scale, really. 8, 5, 8, 5. Okay. So with your bass note, have a look at what this hand is doing. See, it's doing the exact same thing. So crotchets, quarter notes, every beat. Alright, so that's the first little lick. I recommend using your pinkies, building up pinky strength. It's handy to have all 4 fingers. If you don't, then you can do it this way. But I would recommend the pinky. Okay, so that's the first exercise. Now I did it. Alrighty, for the second exercise, the second rhythm grouping, using a thing called a hammer-on. A hammer-on is where you pick the first note just like normal, but the second note is created by one of these fingers pushing down on the string really hard, like so. Okay, it takes a bit of strength in this hand before you can do that. Some people are going to struggle with that, but just a bit of time and a bit of practice. Look up the tabs for a song called Joker and the Thief. It's got a really good hammer-on lick. It goes like this. Using hammer-ons in both fingers. Okay, that's a good one to practice if you're new to this. If not, just continue on. So we're using a hammer-on to create that second note of the rhythm grouping. The rhythm grouping is a quaver, or an eighth note as you guys might call it. And that means for every bass note, or for every beat, we're playing two other notes, two notes for every one. So double time. Eighth notes because there's 8 of them in the bar, yeah? Okay, so here's that exercise, really slow. Okay, so just picking the 5th fret and hammering onto the 8th fret, and then picking the 5th fret of this string and hammering onto the 8th fret. Okay, let's just put the first two exercises together. Okay, so you can hear how they relate to each other. One is twice as fast as the other.